We are all the way live. Gave you all most of it. And welcome to my graveyard. I am your host of the evening, the Cemetery Man of Salem, Mass, ready to take some names and always kicking ass. Your man truly, John Grande, live in blue color here with you on the Ram Nation Radio app, Facebook Live, Instagram Live. I am welcomed today by a wonderful friend of mine, the Winthorpe to my Billy Ray, I would say Harold to my Kumar.
I would say so.
The legendary Brian White. How are you, my friend?
Very good. Thank you for having me on again. It's just I love Friday the 13th.
Dude, yeah. We have our Friday the 13th retrospective today. I'm super excited to talk with Brian about that stuff. But first of all, I know that Brian, you actually had the chance to go to WrestleMania this past Sunday, man. Tell me, how the hell was it?
The crowd experience was like nothing I've ever experienced before, and I don't think I ever will again. Greatest sporting event I've ever been to, and I don't want to go. I don't want to go to a wrestling event ever again because nothing will match that. Being in a like even Madison Square Garden, like 15,000 people, nothing will compare to 80,000 people screaming at the top of their lungs for hours.
It's crazy loud, isn't it?
It's super loud. Yep.
And the funny thing is, it doesn't resonate to how loud it is when you watch it on television.
Yeah. When you did that, I was just scanning the crowd the whole, and I just going like, I'm in a dream world right now.
Yeah, and when people at home are like, "Oh, is this a dead crowd?" I'm like, "Dude, it's 80,000 people. There's no way they're dead.
They're not dead.
It's just all the sound going up into the heavens. There's nothing for the sound to reflect off on, like bounce off on, and that's why it sounds so goddamn loud. Yeah. It's bizarre, but man, dude, that's awesome. Like, did you have a favorite match, a least favorite match?
Favorite match, favorite moment. I'm gonna go Kofi winning the WWE title.
That is super cool that you got to be live and see that. We watched him debut back in 2008.
On ECW,
yeah, and that was moment of the night for you.
Also, Hogan's Hulk Hogan coming out was pretty loud.
Yeah,
cool. And plus a pose down with Bliss, it was really cool.
Dude, yeah, like who would have thought we would have ever seen Hogan and Bliss posing together?
Awesome. That's awesome.
Dude, did you have a favorite Bliss dress of the night? Because I did.
I'm gonna go the first one.
Yeah, right? I liked the first one.
Okay.
She wore one. It was like the Statue of Liberty, and her cleavage was everywhere.
Was this the one in the backstage segment?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was excellent. Okay. Like I couldn't, and it looked like she rubbed something in between, like to make it shine. And I was like, this is like what dreams are. My producer's left the room. He's laughing so hard, but that's the damn truth. All right. I'm Alexa Bliss, Mark, if you can't tell. I'm also Friday 5, Mark, if you can't tell by the shirt. Give me 5, ladies and gentlemen. And also a little bit of small talk here. How about our Mets, man? How about Pete Gas?
Pete Gas, man. This freaking home run machine.
Dude, yeah, you're rocking the Piazza, the 31, man. I'm actually kind of excited about this team. Like, I have some high hopes because, honestly, if we can get the bullpen pitching fixed, like, that lineup's pretty scary.
It is.
Like, they have not had a game, really, where they looked, other than the home opener, where they looked like they couldn't hit. Like, they've been performing like crazy. Like, they scored 8, then 9, then how many yesterday? Like 7?
No, 9 was it?
No, they scored 9, yeah. That's incredible, man. Pretty damn impressive, and it's won one of the 3 games, which is bizarre. But I mean, it is what it is. Our Mets will be coming around anytime soon, so it should be a fun season. But dude, today we're going to be talking about the classic, legendary, esteemed, probably my favorite horror franchise.
Between that and Halloween, but I think I'd give Friday the slight edge.
Yes, my favorite horror movie franchise of all time. It is, of course, Friday the 13th. I just love these movies. I think they're all kind of fantastic in their own separate way. I mean, there are a couple bad ones, but man, even about the first Paramount 8, there's none that I dislike or in any way, shape, or form. So we'll definitely get into all of these. I actually reviewed the original back on episode numero uno, And I basically gave the whole spiel, you know, what else can you say that hasn't been said? I told the reasons why I loved it and grew up with it and all that good stuff. But do you have any quick thoughts on the original Friday 13th? Is it one of your top faves, one of your top 5?
Definitely top 3 for me. I just love how it set the standard and how it's different from the other movies. Mrs. Voorhees is the killer.
On the original Friday 13th, is it I hear myself, Matt.
Me too.
Top 5? He got it. He fixed it. Sorry about that for those listening at home, but go ahead.
Yeah, I just love. I'll first off, I love the cast. A very young Kevin Bacon.
Mm-hmm.
Adrienne
fresh
King,
off of Animal House.
Animal House. Yep. Adrienne King as Alice. Probably between her and Steele. Who do you choose?
Oh, Steele.
Steele.
We
okay,
go Steele
I'll
all
go
the
Steele.
way.
Okay.
Bye.
Takes place in New Jersey, and my brother and dad actually got to go to the campsite on a Boy Scout camping trip.
Really?
Years ago, yeah.
Did they like stay the night?
Yeah, they stayed in the same cabin. Remember when Ralph walks out, like he warns them and then walks out?
Mm-hmm.
That shot, they took shots of that same shot.
Now, let me ask you about the original Friday 13th, because this is a big debate with me and other people in the horror community, and I'm kind of in the minority. I'd be interested to hear which side you're on.
Okay.
Which slasher would you say is the more influential of these two, the original Halloween or the original Friday 13th, and why? It's a tough one, isn't it?
I'm going to go Friday the 13th.
I agree. We're in the minority on that because a lot of people say that Halloween... Well, Friday the 13th ripped Halloween off. Like, even Victor Miller, the writer of Friday the 13th, has said that in the past, which is totally cool because he did a very well job ripping it off. However, when you look at Halloween, if you look at the following year, when you look at the movies that subsequently should have ripped it off, there's not too much in 79 that ripped it off. Like, you have Alien in 79. That's the big horror movie from that year. Dawn of the Dead in 79. Those are the movies that came out in 79 that really changed the game. So when you look at Friday 13th, though, in 81, you have the year of the slasher. Yeah. You have The Burning. You have Maniac. You have The Prowler. You have My Bloody Valentine. You have Madman. You have Friday 13th Part 2, Halloween Part 2. It seemed like once Friday 13th came out and made a lot of money, it was an ultra low-budget movie. Everybody seemed to say, let's try it. Why the hell not? So Just Before Dawn came out, and all these movies. Graduation Day. You can literally go on for like a year talking about these slasher movies that came out in a year. I think somebody did the math, and by average, one came out at least every week of that year. Wow. So if that's not more influential than Halloween, where I can't recall 3 slashers from 1979. No. I'm not saying that they didn't try to rip stuff off from Halloween. They totally did. But the idealistic ripping it off, I think, was from Friday the 13th because it was so low budget, because it starred so many no-names, and it made all that money and it made all that noise. I think it's a fantastic film. What would you give it out of 10?
I give the original?
Yeah.
10.
I would give it a 10 as well. I think it's a perfect film. So, yeah, that's one of those movies. I'm sorry. I went more into depth on the first episode, but, you know, I want to get into the sequels. We're going to try to cover the first half today. You know, we'll see how far we get and all that good stuff. And then into the next episode, this is going to be a 2-parter. We'll do, like, favorite final girls, favorite kills, all that stuff. We'll talk favorite kills in this episode, too. But that brings us to the body count continues, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, Friday the 13th. Yes. Part 2, yes, with the legendary Miss Amy Steele on this cover here. This is kind of a cool.
That's a cool cover. Can I see the back?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Jason, nice.
Yeah, pretty cool. It's basically well, actually, on a side note, we're meeting Amy Steele tomorrow down in the Cinema Arts Center in Huntington. Okay. I cannot wait to meet Amy Steele. It's going to be super cool. I've got posters for her to sign. Okay. I'm hoping we get a pic of the 3 of us. Okay. That'd be legendary. Winthorpe, Billy Ray, and Amy. Like, that's a legendary pic right there. But Friday the 13th, Part 2, the body count continues. This movie basically picks up right where the original left off. It's about 5 years later, and Adrienne King, our final girl from Part 1, is having nightmares, recurring dreams, and one night, she's at her house alone, and she is murdered by the legendary Jason. Hi, Francine! Francine's rocking a... Is that pizza? Francine, you're a legend. So Jason kills Adrienne King, and then we fast forward to these new people opening up a camp, and you have John Fury, Amy Steele. Just a great, great cast of characters. Of course, Steve Miner took over the directing chair for this movie, as he went on to direct Part 3 as well. And I got to be honest, man, this one... I might like it even more than the original.
I do.
Yeah? I'm a huge fan of Friday the 13th Part 2. I think it's just an all-time classic movie. do you have any favorite scenes, favorite moments, favorite characters, anything like that?
My favorite moment, obviously, is got to be the end scene where Amy Steele dresses up as Mrs. Voorhees and she's the only one to tame Jason.
Yes.
She tames him.
That's a legendary scene. I always really liked the campfire scene with John Fury, and I love how it's shot too, because up until that point,
slowly getting closer.
Yeah, up until that point, you're introduced to the counselors. It almost feels like it's almost like a team comedy up to that point. Gets dark. Yeah, and then that point where John Fury is sitting around the campfire, his delivery of those lines are so good, and man, and like it's weird to know that he didn't go on to act in much. Yeah. But man, he delivers those lines so well, and I'm paraphrasing here, but
you even see I believe it's part 7 in the beginning. They show that exact scene, like just how it influenced the whole series. I think.
Yeah, I would say that's like I would say the most influencing scene of the entire series because it is the legend of Jason. Yeah. It really is. It almost works as a part 1 because it's the first one with Jason in it. It really is, and I think that's why, as a sequel, it really works, and I think it works almost better than the original, because I think you have a little bit step up of a cast, especially a better final girl, I think. And of course, you have the better legendary killer in Jason Voorhees. So, I mean, it's kind of unmatched. I think that scene, though, man, where he's like, Jason's out there. Jason's hungry, thirsty for the new blood. And, like, I just love that scene.
Everyone was just terrified. Like,
yeah.
Jaws dropped, like,
it's almost like I want to be able to tell a story that good around a campfire and creep all those people out, and like they just all look at him so seriously, and I'm like, man, like that must be the greatest feeling on John Fury's behalf to have them all in the palm of his hands, you know? Like that's any good. We're wrestling fans. Any good promo, everybody knows that you have to have the fans in the palm of your hand, and I remember seeing that as a kid in my upstate house. I watched it. I rented it on VHS, believe it or not. I rented the first 3 on VHS when I was a kid, and just watching that scene, just being terrified, and like the movie that proceeds. I mean, there are so many good kills in this movie too. The shish kebab kill with the couple having sex in the bed, and Jason comes in, gets the double. The guy in the wheelchair.
That's my favorite,
dude. I to this day wonder how did they do that?
They do that. Dude, now, right when the axe goes into his head, do you see? Is there a hand in the corner?
I don't know.
Even for a slight, I don't know.
It's weird too because he doesn't swing with the part of the machete you'd normally swing with. He swings with the other side, and I get that. That was obviously because it would bend into the face better. Yeah. Granted, Mr. Tom Savini said the hell with that in part 4. We'll get to that, but I always thought that was weird. But the angle and how he goes down the steps in the pouring rain without fall. So think about that. That defies physics. He's falling down backwards in a wheelchair, pouring rain. Down steps, and he never falls. They just cut the scene to white. That is some terrifying stuff. And I love all the lead up with the characters before that. She's like, "So does everything still work down there?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, I'm still blessed down there." That's one of the greatest lines. Like if I was in a wheelchair, totally would be my line. I'm still blessed down there, man. I love that you have a weird pervert guy who's going after this other girl who literally has I honestly don't remember if she has any lines in the movie.
Yeah, oh no, she screams.
Yeah, she's just gorgeous, and he's shooting slingshots at her ass and stuff. This was back when PC was not really existent. The women in this movie are really objects. It's pretty insane to see the world we live in now as opposed to what Friday the 13th was, especially the early years of Friday the 13th. But I think in that vein, you have Amy Steele rise above, and I think she's the best final girl, not only of the series, I would say in horror movie history.
She is.
She just has such an arc to her that I like. There's a scene in the bar where she's talking about the history of Jason. She says, what if he was just a mentally... she doesn't use the mentally challenged word, but I don't want to offend anybody using the R word. What if he was just a frightened, mentally challenged child, and he was confused, and he saw his mother to be beheaded? She's adding a psychological approach to why Jason does what he does, and I would say we never got that in the rest of the series.
Yeah, I agree. And also, they just completely brush her off, and they're like, "No, he doesn't exist." That's what made it cool.
Yeah, that's what made it cool. It was like she was deep enough to think about these things, and then they're just like, screw it, just drink more, you know?
With the beer bottles.
Oh, yeah. And
Stu Charno.
This just my opinion. Stu should have died. Should he have not? That character in every other slasher movie dies. But
he was just left at the bar. He just stayed at the bar.
He broke every rule, too. He got drunk. He was an ass. Everybody hated him. And he lived. Break it, Stu. Not the legendary Matthew Lillard Stu, but the Stu in Friday the 13th Part 2. This guy was also in Christine.
Okay. And he was in what's that movie with Jim Carrey in the vampire movie?
Oh, Once Bitten.
Yes.
He was also killed in Christine. The scene ended up being deleted.
Oh wow.
So he to this day he says like I've been in all these major horror movies and never died in any of them. And I'm like, dude, you should have died in Friday the 13th Part 2. Like that should have been a goddamn given. But it is what it is. Of course, like you said, the amazing final climax, the chase with Amy Steele, and let's not make any bones about it. Steve Dash, the legendary Steve Dash, who we've both met. And got autographs and pictures with. The guy was just awesome.
Really good,
what can you recall from him when you met him?
He was just it was a brief encounter, but he was just really cool, very warming person.
Yeah, really cool, like Brooklyn guy, from the streets, Brooklyn guy, like really, really cool.
Yeah.
I always loved that encounter. Screw Warrington Gillette, by the way.
Bad guy.
Yeah, absolute bad guy. And of course you have that legendary, like when she confronts him as trying to pretend she's Mrs. Voorhees. It's all done, Jason. It's all done, Jason. And mommy is pleased.
He gets down on his knees and he's like looking at her like fascinated.
He drops to a knee and kind of turns his head.
That's great acting.
That's fantastic acting because it brings her psychology to life. The child in him sees his mother. And like, I love that arc, man. I wish they had done that in more Friday the 13th movies. Like, I think that was really, they go there a little bit in part 4 when Corey Feldman kind of trances Jason. But I don't know if that works great, but this works fantastic, like flawlessly. I just love Amy. I thought for a guy with tater sack and a whole fantastic chemistry. And then of course the legendary battle at the end where Steve Dash actually cut his finger.
Yes.
And told me that he got 13 stitches for that finger. I always thought that was really, really cool. Like, what are the odds? Friday 13th Part 2, you get 13 stitches in your middle finger, right?
A true champion.
Absolutely, a true champion. Just a movie I really love overall. It's one that I could go on and on about all day. I just really, really love Friday 13th Part 2. The body count continues. What would you give this one out of 10, unless there's anything else you'd like to add?
Out of 10, I'll give this one 11.
An 11 out of 10. That is a high rating. Right? Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen.
That's my favorite one.
Is it your favorite one?
I'm going to say yeah.
That is awesome. See, I love this one a lot. This is definitely in my top 3.
I also love this one and the one we're about to talk about next.
Oh, man. Well, when it comes to the first 5, I think all 5s are...
They all have that feel.
Yes. They all... Like, when you get to Part 6, I think that's where the feel of the series kind of left. Like, it became more latter 80s. It's weird. From 85 to 86, so much of that atmosphere from even the late 70s rubbed off on 1986. I don't know if it was new cameras, if it was new... I don't know what it was, but it seemed to change. But... As Friday the 13th Part 2, I would also give it the perfect 10 out of 10. I think it's a classic film. Totally recommend that one. So moving on here, I can let you hold this one up for the camera. It is a new dimension of terror. It is Friday the 13th Part 3.
Friday.
Yes?
1 sec. Don't talk yet. 1 sec.
No, you just keep talking.
Oh, we can't? Okay. Never mind. Keep talking. You're good.
What happened?
Audio on Facebook's not working, but you're on radio.co.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure it out.
Okay, that's great. So we're not playing on Facebook right now, but it's all right for anybody listening on the app. Friday the 13th, Part 3, A New Dimension in Terror. Of course, it was originally shot in the good 3D, not the red-blue. Yeah. Like the 3D they have for like Avatar, like it was just the shades. I would think it's one of everybody's favorites. Like this is the most beloved one unanimously, I think, and like for good reason. It is so classic 80s slasher goodness, man. What are your thoughts on this one?
Well, I also love how it's the first movie with Jason wearing the mask, and I also really love the setting, Higgins Haven, and I also love the cast.
Yeah, I think so you have Dana Kimmel as the final girl in this movie, which I'll admit, while she is gorgeous to look at, I don't think she's the greatest actress.
No, I feel you on that
one. However, I think when it comes down to the chase at the end,
that's a great chase.
What a great chase! I would argue it's probably the best chase in the entire series. Like it's so good.
I like how it like breaks down to day and night. Like it starts off in the night and ends in the daytime. That's cool. I like the early morning hours. That's cool.
Dude, yeah. You have of course Shelley the classic.
I also love how in this movie, like every male and female has a counterpart, and the only one that doesn't is Shelley.
Yeah, and even Vera, I would say, is kind of. I always, this is like an unpopular opinion, but I always like to have seen her as the final girl.
Okay.
I thought she was a good actress.
She was.
Kind of hot. Like, she had a little bit of spunk to her, you know? Like, I always kind of dug Vera. And the thing is with this movie, everything about it just screams the time period. Like, I love when they're driving along, and I always looked at it as like the crazy Ralph replacement guy. I don't know, the character doesn't have a name.
The guy they run into.
Yeah, that he's like, I warned thee, and he pulls up an eyeball. He goes, I have warned thee, and dude, I crack up every single time at that. That is legendarily funny. And of course all the gags, the baseball through the screen, the bat, the yo-yo. I just love all the gags. Of course, my favorite, the harpoon to the eye.
Oh, the best.
One of the best kills in the movie.
Even getting to recreate that in the game.
Oh yeah, the Friday 13th game. For those of you who haven't played the Friday 13th game, that harpoon shot in the game is so much damn fun. You kill Shelley too. You kill Shelley in the barn. You actually get to see what happens to Shelley. Unlike in the movie, he actually dies off screen. It's an off-screen kill.
You just see like the neck and that.
Yeah, and that chick who looks like my mom, it's actually kind of scary. The stoner chick in this movie, my mom's never smoked pot, just for the record. But the stoner chick in this movie did look like my mom. Like I always thought that was strange. And the guy in yeah, I know. The guy in the original Hills Have Eyes also looks like my dad, which I always thought was weird. The lead, cool. the final guy, not one of the mutants. All right, I don't want to bury my dad. But basically, yeah, it's the same run of the mill stuff. These kids going up for the weekend. I will say, like, Crystal Lake looks more like Crystal Pond to me in this one. Yeah. Like it's kind of smaller.
Yeah, it's small.
But it's I don't know, I love Higgins Haven. I think the characters are so fun and cheesy. Of course, the biker gang.
Oh,
and that whole sequence in the store where he throws his wallet to her and
then Shelley gets revenge.
Oh my God, yeah, always Shelley, man. He runs over their bikes and gets his window punched in, and
then they try and get revenge on top of that and end up meeting Jason.
Oh my God, yes. I also love the one gang member. She goes, "Is this your rubber?" I love that. And then Shelley's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go stand up to this woman." He's like, "I believe that's my wallet." And then out of nowhere comes these two thugs with like leather jackets and lift them up. And he's like, nothing. I meant nothing by that. Like, I think this movie has a great sense of humor. And I think a lot of that is attributed to Steve Miner. Okay. Like, I think Steve Miner, with both part 2 and part 3, had the perfect, I would say, tone for these movies. Like, the exact tone that you want for a Friday the 13th film is what he did. Yeah. You have humor, you have boobs, you have blood, you have a little bit of mayhem. That's the formula of a good Friday the 13th film. And, of course, some of the kills in this one, I always love the kill where the couple just has done having sex in the hammock.
I know exactly, yep.
And he's walking on his hands because why not in a slasher film? And he kind of looks up, and Jason splits him in half.
That's one of my favorite scenes in the kill scenes in the entire franchise, I think.
Oh my God, easily. So awesome! And I like how they shot that too, because when you on a repeating watch, I think they had what they did was they had him like upside down, like they shot it reverse, and they had his hands on like see-through glass. Okay. And because he's just on regular hardwood floor when you see him walking, and then when you see the kill, like from his perspective, it looks like he's standing on glass with his hands. And I always thought, what a sick vantage point.
That was really good.
So awesome. Of course, his girlfriend gets it in the hammock, and is a little bit of an homage to the Kevin Bacon death. I actually met her, Tracy Savage. Nice. I met her at a convention. Super, really nice lady. She said it took like 6 hours to put that prosthetic makeup on. Wow. Like 6 hours. Wow. You imagine that? Yeah. 6 hours and like, okay, now you're going to get in the hammock and Jason's going to grab you and you're not going to notice him even though it's a hammock and it makes no sense. But I always liked that she was leading Fangoria too.
Yep, she was reading the magazine.
And the blood drips down. So good, man. So intelligent. Like that's how you rip yourself off. Like how can we do the Kevin Bacon death again? Oh, we'll have Fangoria in there. We'll have a hammock thrown in there. It'll be a girl this time. Like very, very smart
That's cool. Really
thinking. Of course, we have the legendary Richard Brooker as Jason in this movie. Yeah, rest in peace. May he rest in peace. He was a fantastic Jason. What were your thoughts as him as Jason?
Him and Steve Dash, and Ted White are probably my favorite Jasons.
Right in a row.
I just really liked his. I just really liked his manners. He was Jason.
Yeah, he before he started doing like stunts, he was actually a trapeze artist, and I think that's why he moved so damn well as Jason. I really like when he's walking after shooting Vera with the harpoon. He's walking back up the dock and kind of looks up. That's one of my favorite shots of the entire series. It's literally Jason does his thing, walks away, looks up.
He's on to the next victim.
There's more people having sex in this damn house. Yep. Like, I love that. That's one of my favorite shots of the entire series.
I love when he backs, like when he shoots Vera and drops the gun, then just like does that. He goes back and then he starts walking again.
Yeah, some people have told me before he starts running, it's a little bit Michael Myers-esque, and I could totally see that.
Okay, yeah,
like it's definitely kind of Nick Castle's shape when he's walking. When he's running, obviously no.
Yeah,
but of course the finale. What did you think of the finale in this one? Because honestly, the finale in this one, of all the Friday the 13th, scared me the most after the final chase scene and stuff. As great as the final chase scene is. But I'm talking about the finale the next morning. That scared the crap out of me. I don't know about you, but how'd you feel?
Yeah, when I first watched it, that was like the biggest shock because I didn't expect that at all. So she thinks she's evaded Jason. She gets in the boat, looks up at the house. Jason's in there, like laughing at her. She starts screaming and stuff. She paddles away. Everything's calm again. And the biggest shock, Mrs. Voorhees' body jumps out of the water and similar to part one, takes her down.
Dude, yeah, that always scared the crap out of me when I was a child. Like, I remember the beginning, the ending of part one scaring me, but the ending of this one stunned me. Like, I was like, what? Yeah. First of all, the makeup they had for Jason was so grotesque. Like, I even think it was better than Savini's design in the next movie. That's how scary I thought it looked. Really, like, mongoloid, deformed, just gross. And then you see him, it's almost like a dream. Like, she sees him, she paddles away, he bursts out the door, stares her down, and disappears.
I thought first time I watched it, I thought it was a dream.
So did I. It feels very dreamsicle, and you're like, it was all a dream. You know, that was a good little and then Mama Voorhees, now with her head reattached to her body somehow. Jumps out of the water and grabs Miss Chris to the water. And I always thought this was very anti-Final Girl formula. Chris at the end, she's crazy. You could see she's lost her mind. And like, that's very anti-Final Girl. Usually the Final Girl is like, she's tough and she's rigged and she's survived. Not Chris, man. Chris is damaged for life. She ain't never, ever going to be the same again. And like, I really liked that because it really, as many Final Girls as you establish with this series, whether it be Amy Steele, whether it be Adrienne King, whether it be the girl in part 4, I can't think of her damn name off the top of my head. Whether it be Melanie Kinnaman from part 5, as many Final Girls as you established in the series, hell, even Tommy Jarvis is a final guy. Yeah. I feel like Chris was always the one that she almost established Jason more because Jason scared her so bad that it ruined her entire life after that. And I always thought, wow, like Jason got the last laugh. I do not care if she hit him in the head with an axe and hung him and all these things. Jason got the final laugh, man. You are never going to be the same again. And I always thought, what a brilliant, brilliant little twist to that Final Girl formula. Before that Final Girl formula was kind of finalized, I thought it was kind of a cool turn on it. So anything else you wanted to add about this one?
No.
What would you give it out of 10? I have a feeling I know this, ladies and gentlemen, but we have to ask.
All right. I'll give it a 9.5.
9.5 out of 10. I will give this a 9 out of 10, too. I will not say it's as good as the first two or even the preceding two, but it's certainly in my top 5 in the series. I love the film. I think it's an all-time classic. That is Friday the 13th, Part 3. Oh, and the next one, yes. This next one has some false advertising in the title, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not a big fan. Oh, Miranda's texting me. I can't really see what Miranda's saying, but I guess we'll find out after the show. Basically, the next movie was supposed to be the last movie, though. Paramount had basically been receiving all these negative reviews from critics. You guys are disgusting. You're tricking people into going to see these movies, yada, 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 all this stuff, whatever. So they said, we're going to make one more nice payday, and then we're going to call it a day. So we're going to kill off Jason. They brought back Mr. Tom Savini, the proverbial Frankenstein creator, to kill his creation in Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter, which is false marketing because this was far from the final chapter. But it is a damn good
really
movie.
Good one.
I would say definitely in my top 3. It might even be my number one. I love this movie. I go back and forth with which one I like the most. It's between 2, 4, and 5 for me.
Okay.
But it is a fantastic slasher movie. They brought in Joe Zito to direct this one, who had also directed The Prowler and worked with Tom Savini on that. He also worked on Invasion USA with Chuck Norris. He did a few Chuck Norris films.
Nice.
Just an awesome director. Really, really like Joe Zito. And man,